Stealth is one of the most powerful combat mechanics in Horizon Zero Dawn. Whether you're farming for machine parts, raiding a bandit camp, or thinning out a crowd of hostile machines, there's rarely a situation in the game that can't be made at least somewhat easier by using stealth. And even though you might know some of the basics, there are a lot of ways to use stealth to your advantage. So I've compiled a list of my very best tips, including the best stealth armors for sneaking around, my ultimate stealth weapon loadout, and some more advanced tricks to help you take your stealth game to the next level. But let's jump in by first talking about some of the basics. In Zero Dawn, when you're in combat or near an enemy, you'll always have this stealth indicator on the screen. If it's an open eye, that means you're in the open and visible to nearby enemies. When it's closed or just a line, that means you're invisible or in stealth. And when there's an open eye with a line around it or multiple lines around it, that indicates that you're making noise. Likewise, when a machine is suspicious that you're nearby, you'll see a question mark indicator above their head. Once they're alerted that something is in the area, that question mark will turn into an exclamation point, and as long as that exclamation point stays yellow, you can remain in stealth. But once it goes red, that machine enters combat mode and it's show over, time for fight or flight.
You're alert.
Now, learning how to traverse quietly without making noise is one of the most essential skills for stealth. You can do that easily by just crouching. Even though it can be a bit slow, as long as you're crouched and outside of a machine's line of sight, you should be able to remain in stealth. Sliding is another much quicker way to traverse while ensuring that you're not making any noise. In fact, I would argue that the slide is one of the most important mechanics for anyone looking to master a stealthy playstyle. Running and sliding into tall grass or sliding between patches of tall grass is an extremely useful way to get around without being seen, and is also a really cool way to chain together multiple different stealth kills together.
That's it. I'm already gone.
Now, there are also quite a few skills that are useful for stealth. Skills like low profile and quiet sprint are going to help you avoid detection when traversing, so these are ones that I would recommend picking up as early as possible. Especially if you're playing on harder difficulties like ultra hard, where machine awareness is raised, you're going to need all the help that you can get. Another skill that is absolutely essential for stealth is the silent strike. The silent strike gives you the ability to sneak up on a machine and perform a silent takedown, which is usually enough to take out small machines and will deal a significant amount of damage to medium-sized machines.
Deal with them quickly.
Now, don't be fooled by the fact that just because this is a skill that you can pick up pretty much straight away, that it's only useful in the early part of the game. I would say that the silent strike is probably one of the most useful skills in the entire game, no matter where you're at and no matter what difficulty level you're playing on. Even on harder difficulties or with larger machines, the silent strike can be a great way to deal a good amount of damage right up front. You can also combine the silent strike skill with the slide to do a bit of a quiet combo. Once you have a machine in your sights, you can quickly close distance by running towards the machine, going into a slide to get up close, and then once you're close enough, hitting the silent strike. Now, additionally, the lure call is another skill that I would definitely recommend picking up as early as possible. This gives you the ability to whistle and essentially lure a machine your way, so you can use the silent strike skill to take them out quietly. Luring a machine into tall grass is one of the best ways to thin out a crowd if you're in a group of machines to help you even the odds. Now, rocks are another pretty basic item that you're going to collect a ton of during your playthrough that can also be really useful for stealth. By throwing a rock, you'll essentially be distracting a machine or a group of machines and causing them to turn their attention elsewhere. Whereas the lure call will bring machines towards you, rocks can be used to lure them away. So if you're looking to get the most out of stealth, you'll want to be able to use these two things regularly to fit whatever situation you're in. And rocks can be thrown at a pretty good distance, which I find useful if I need a distraction to reposition myself or get in a bit closer. And personally, I don't use traps all that often, but if you do, you can throw a rock at a trap to trigger it from a distance.
Oh boy.
Now, I will say that rocks and the lure call definitely lose their efficacy on harder difficulties, so if you're playing on ultra hard, it's probably better to leave these things behind and instead focus on setting traps instead of baiting machines. Now, of course, a good stealth armor is the absolute foundation of any good stealth build. And fortunately, you can pick up some pretty good ones early on in the game. The Nora Silent Hunter Light and the Nora Silent Hunter Medium are both stealth armors that you can pick up as early as the Merchant and Mother's Cradle. Both of these armors come with some built-in stealth, which is going to help make things in the early game a lot easier. and with 1 modification slot each, you can equip an additional stealth weave to bump up your base stealth level. Now, if you can wait, I would recommend waiting to pick up the Nora Silent Hunter Heavy, which is another stealth armor you can pick up as early as the merchant right outside the main Embrace gate. The Nora Silent Hunter Heavy comes with plus 30 stealth and 2 modification slots, but the downside is that it does require 800 shards and 2 Bellowback hearts, which might be a bit expensive early on in the game. So for my money, the absolute best stealth armor in the game is the Nora Silent Hunter Master. This is one you can pick up in the Frozen Wilds for only 18 blue gleam. And you can actually access the Frozen Wilds incredibly early on in the game, and you can collect a ton of blue gleam without ever really even needing to take on a machine. I made another video that breaks down the best early game tips and tricks, including how to access the Frozen Wilds early and collect a ton of blue gleam, which I'll be sure to link in the description below if you want to check it out. But the Nora Silent Hunter Master comes with 3 coil slots and plus 30 stealth. So it's definitely worth grabbing early if you're looking to take advantage of a stealthy playstyle. Now, if you're in New Game Plus, you can also purchase the Nora Silent Hunter Adept and the Nora Silent Hunter Master Adept, which each come with an additional modification slot. But honestly, when it comes to stealth weaves, I found that after 2, additional stealth weaves really don't make all that much of a difference. So if you do have an armor with 3 or 4 modification slots, I would recommend using 2 of them for stealth and then using the remaining ones for either ranged attack or melee attack, so that way you'll have at least a little bit of protection in case things go sideways. Now, of course, when it comes to stealth, the best defense is a good offense, and knowing how to take out machines quietly and from a distance. So let me take you through my ultimate stealth weapon loadout. And of course, this does depend on your individual preference and playstyle. There's a ton of flexibility in Horizon Zero Dawn and a ton of different weapon options that can all be really effective depending on the situation you're in. So here's my ultimate stealth weapon loadout, and it all starts up front with the Banuk Champion Bow. This is one of, if not the best elemental hunter bows in the entire game, and there's a couple of reasons for why it's so good for stealth. The Banuk Champion comes with frost arrows, which you can use to freeze a machine and put them into the brittle state. Once a machine is in the brittle state, you can significantly increase the amount of impact damage you're able to deal, which can go a long way in taking out a machine in just 1 or 2 shots. And then using the double and triple shot skills, you can typically freeze a machine pretty quickly, and while the machine might be alerted, depending on your difficulty level, you should still be able to remain in stealth. Now, another reason why the Banuk Champion is such a great option is because it comes with corruption arrows. Corruption is one of the most slept on elements in Horizon Zero Dawn, but can be one of the most powerful, especially for a stealthy playstyle. When a machine is inflicted with corruption, they'll basically go crazy and attack whatever is closest to them. It basically acts as a machine override that you can trigger at a distance. Not only that, but other nearby machines will focus their attention on the corrupted machine, which makes corruption not only a great way to thin out a crowd, but also cause a pretty good distraction. Next up on my list is the Banuk Power Shot Bow. The Banuk Power Shot is another weapon that you can pick up in the Frozen Wilds for only blue gleam. Power Shot bows are designed to deal a high amount of damage in a single precise shot. They're certainly not the fastest option, but if you're looking to deal maximum damage at a distance, a good Power Shot bow is essential. The Banuk Power Shot is also a really good complement to the Frost from the Banuk Champion. Inflicting a machine first with Frost and then hitting them with an arrow from the Banuk Power Shot is a really good 1-2 combo that should be able to take out most machines in just a couple of hits. Next up is probably my favorite weapon in the entire game, the Shadow Tripcaster. Not only is this a great option because it's one of the most powerful damage weapons in the game, but it's also one of the best stealth weapons in the game. Loaded up with all damage coils, you can throw down a ton of tripwires in a machine's path to lay down the perfect trap. Now, even if the explosion doesn't completely take out the machine, as long as you're still hidden, the machine may be alerted, which makes sense because you just blew them up, but eventually they'll go back about their business and you can continue laying down traps. And lastly, a good ropecaster is essential for stealth play. Ropecasters give you the ability to tie down machines, and I know what you may be thinking. It's not exactly stealth if you're running around tying down machines and they're gonna know that you're there. But there are some scenarios where it's just not possible to stealth your way through the entire area, so a ropecaster is gonna give you a ton of flexibility. You can take out the smaller machines while the bigger ones are tied down and then make your way into hiding, or you can override the larger machine and have them take out the smaller machines while you go back to laying traps. Now, I do of course want to give a couple of other honorable mentions to some weapons that might not be my go-tos, but are still really good for playing in stealth, so you might want to check them out. Starting with the improved Ice Rail. The improved Ice Rail is another weapon that's great for stealth, in particular because the ice cannon basically acts like an icy sniper rifle. This thing has the potential to do a ton of damage, and the range on it is insane. Now the downside is that it does take a long time to charge up the ice cannon shot, but if you're playing in stealth, that's typically not a problem. The only reason why this isn't a permanent fixture on my loadout is because it's extremely resource heavy, costing a ton of chill water to craft new ammo. Especially if you're on ultra hard where resources are much harder to come by, I wouldn't recommend using this one all the time, but if you do have a large quantity of chill water on hand, this one is definitely worth checking out. And lastly, the Lodge Blastling or the Shadow Blastling if you haven't yet made your way through the Hunting Ground challenges. Like the Shadow Tripcaster, this is one of the highest damage weapons in the entire game. But what makes this such a great option for stealth are the sticky bombs. You can attach multiple sticky bombs to a machine while in stealth, and after a few seconds, the sticky bombs will all explode, hopefully taking out the machine. Sticky bombs also pair really nicely with the rope caster. You can just attach the sticky bombs to the tied down machine and you should be able to take them out quickly.
Yes!
And if you do prefer more of a trapper style build, proximity bombs are also a good stealth option. By simply throwing down some proximity bombs, you can lure a machine into a trap, which I found to be a pretty good alternative to using a tripcaster. And there you have it, my ultimate guide to stealth in Horizon Zero Dawn. I do hope these tips help you stay stealthy. And if you have any other tips or tricks for stealth, definitely be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, definitely give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I upload a new gaming video every week where I talk about in-depth builds and strategy for Horizon and other open world RPGs, and also talk about the latest news and releases for PS5. So if this is the kind of thing that sounds like your kind of thing, definitely subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.